So to the back of us, this house is 2.5. Maybe this house is like 1.8, 2 million, 2 million.
Those?
Yes.
2 million.
Yes.
Oh my God.
This one for sure. This yellow one, 2 million. We're here in Vancouver. I actually went to elementary. This is my hood. I have a lovely guest here.
What's up?
Very successful digital marketer, family, and plans to just, as you're getting more successful, building more wealth,
Yes.
you decided to, or going to leave Canada.
I think so. I'm going to be leaving probably starting February. I'm really starting to cut the ties like you and be done for good. I've already left many times and I'm back because we had a second baby recently and we needed that family support. But yeah, we want to find the ultimate place for our family where we're treated really well and money can actually be sustainable.
So before we get into it, you want to do a little intro? Who are you? Who are you, Rich?
Well, my name is Rich UX and I'm 40 years old. I'm married, I have 2 children, and I've been a freelance digital marketer for over 10 years. I've been making websites and videos just as long as you have. We've been both on the YouTube grind for almost 10 years.
Me and Rich go way
back.
way.
Like I've seen this guy's early days, he's seen my early days, and we've just been grinding. And I also help people online to try and do the same thing, learn marketing, help other people, and make remote income. Everything is online now.
So what is your main revenue?
My main revenue is my clients. They pay me every single month to manage their website, make their videos, social media, help them with marketing things. I do like a lot of different things, and that's like my specialty is being kind of multi-skilled. So they can just work with one simple marketer instead of like all these different outsourcers. So, 5 figures there. And then I'm trying to grow a business of my own brand, which is barely profitable, if that. We're trying to grow it. And that's the Rich Anish Academy. That's where you can learn digital marketing from me and others and be a part of our community.
Vancouver, right?
Yeah, all my life.
Born and raised?
Pretty much, yeah. I lived in Burnaby for like 20 years.
Where'd you go to high school?
Burnaby North.
Oh, damn, okay.
Yeah.
And then university?
I went to SFU first, then I transferred to UBC, graduated, I went to law school in Manitoba.
Right, so I saw the comments on your video and they're like, why didn't you keep going with the law?
Yeah. I just believed that it had reached a ceiling, and I could see as I was going to law school, like the opportunities fell off. How hard you had to grind for like even 70, 80K.
70, 80K is a lot back then.
It was not bad. It wasn't bad, but I didn't crave money. I actually I came from a successful like online poker life. I made a lot of money in that world. I was desensitized to just money because I wanted freedom. I said, oh, the internet is a pathway to money. So I just wanted freedom all the time. I wasn't thinking about the biggest check.
But what made you have that mindset? Because like you go to high school here, most people get like a minimum wage job. They kind of just get a 9 to 5.
Ultimately, I'm really lazy at the heart of it. I don't want to work that hard. And that's really where it starts. And then you learn that's not really the best way. You do have to work hard. But if you work hard for yourself, it kind of feels better. It doesn't feel always like work for me. I feel dreadful commuting and watching the clock for 8 hours. It doesn't feel good.
So did you ever have a 9 to 5?
Oh yeah, lots. From age 16 to age 32, I had a lot of jobs. I worked at the casino, I dealt blackjack 10 hours a day. I worked in media, I worked in film and production.
But you have a corporate job though?
My last jobs in the legal world were very corporate, yes. Like that feeling of you're in a firm, you're with very serious people.
And that was like when you were beginning like articling and all that?
Essentially because I moved to Hong Kong and I started my kind of nomadic journey, I never came back to Canada and eventually did the bar. I had already discovered I don't need to do this. There's another path for me. And I basically just said, you know what, I will survive this. And that was about how do I live cheaper now? If I want to do this, I need a strategy to survive.
And back then you were, how were you making money?
I lived in debt for a very long time and continue to still have student debt that I pay off today.
Can you share with the audience like law school?
80,000.
So then you started doing your agency.
I was taking odd jobs from day one. I've been doing odd jobs since I was 16 years old. I've always known how to use computers. I was a photographer a long time, then a videographer, then a marketer, social media marketer. And basically any client I could find, I'll do your website, I'll make your video, and I cracked enough projects that I'm like, I can do this. I just have to put a string of income together. And that's why I was like, oh, I'm gonna move to Bali. It's a third of the cost of living and I can do it remotely. And that's kind of where I figured out a lot of stuff.
So before we get into remote life, let's talk more about Vancouver.
Yeah.
Growing up here, you see that when you're 14, 15, you get like your first job is like a fast food chain.
Yeah. I picked up golf balls at the driving range.
But now, something that I noticed in when I was watching his video, about like, you look at all the minimum wage jobs, they're not Canadians.
Of course not. Not at all.
There are like immigrants.
Yeah, and I think that.
And then I'm like, where are all the 14,
I know.
15?
I don't know. Well, that's what's weird. They must be on the internet something. Like, we don't really know. It's a lot private.
Because I remember I was 15, I was like, everyone was trying to get a job.
McDonald's.
Yes.
100%. That was the key job. And people even said, oh, that's a good idea because you're going to be a skilled worker. Now you don't. Now it's not. But
I remember back then I was making like $9. $8 an hour.
$8.50 was okay. You didn't think it was the dumbest idea in the world back
So
then.
fast forward to all the people out there. Minimum wage in Vancouver is
20?
17, 16? It keeps going up.
Yeah.
And let's say, do you remember how much you were making throughout your minimum wage jobs,
or
just
a
gig
lot.
work?
Like the idea of cracking 50K was a big deal. Like anything at 60K and up when I was younger seemed like you were way above average. 25 to 30 seemed like what average people could bring home and get a house and go out and have a Christmas and go on a vacation and have a car every 10 years or whatever. Like all that's impossible right now. Like you can't even have a great Christmas anymore. You really have to think hard about it. What are my kids gonna have, and should we get a big tree or not? Like, do we do this stuff anymore?
So before you had your kids, you were living out in you living out a 1-bedroom? Was there a
studio. Always studios.
It was a studio.
Yeah, always studios. Pretty much 1-bedroom. Yeah, sometimes 1-bedrooms, but a lot of times studios.
And what was the average of that?
I remember 1,500, 1,700, 1,800, and that's when I started leaving. So I was like, wait a second, I can get 500 somewhere, 400 somewhere.
Yes.
Like, I just have to maybe sacrifice some certain things,
Yeah.
and that's where you have to have the open mind.
Yeah. Because like the averages now, if you look, you're looking at like 16, 17 for a basement suite.
I know. Yeah.
Like one of these
Yeah.
in the basement.
It doesn't make sense to be by yourself anymore. I think I heard you say that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work well.
You can't. So for example, buying a home, if that is in your viewpoint, one of these you need like a 200K like average like net income.
Yeah, pretty much.
To get approval for a mortgage.
Right, and it's gonna be harder right now than ever because of the interest rates.
And I got a comment on one of the videos, and they're like, "You make 92K and you couldn't survive." I was talking about like
Not surprised.
a future, right? About like, plus being in Canada, a lot of taxes.
The
more, because I thought like, I was so grinding in my 20s, like I want to get that 6 figures. Then you hit that 6 figures, I'm like, wait, it's not really 6 figures.
I was at a good age for the Olympics in 2010. It really shifted things. And that really started a trickled effect of more people showing interest here, more investing. There's so much outside investment. There's so much outside influence on Canada right now.
Talking about that, even my tattoo artist in Vietnam knew about foreign investments going into Richmond, because that went like global in terms of news.
Yeah. We got a lot of loopholes in Canada.
Overall enrollment in university now is on a slight decline.
Oh, it's gotta be. I'm surprised it's not more. I think people feel compelled to help to do what's right, and they think that they want to make their parents happy still. That's gonna last for a
Option
while.
number 2 is also, it was a way for international students to get into the country.
Oh, totally. But they used a lot of these weird little fake colleges. You ever go downtown? There's like 50 fake colleges there. It's hilarious.
Finally, they're shutting down on those.
Yeah, they have to. It's just all fake stuff. So to be happy, you need 100K minimum. To be happy. And what does that even mean anymore? It means what?
That's not even prepared for the future.
Buy a couple drinks on the weekend? That's not happiness anymore. Like, things are gonna need to change, and the world's gonna shift. We're going through that.
And what's the solution?
The solution is you probably need a second job, and that sucks. So what is the alternative? A second job and a side hustle. What's a side hustle? Grr, vague, right? Well, I would say make your side hustle until it becomes your full thing. And that's the discovery for each person. Like, what should my side hustle be? I was always a Gary Vee fan, and if I was totally broke, I would go back to Ubering and DoorDashing, which I did at first. And even today, what I make now, I'm like, should I go flip on eBay for some extra cash? Because I'm gonna help someone find a good that they want, and I'm gonna deliver it to them, and that's fine, you know, make a few extra bucks on the weekend. So it begins with saying, I need more, this isn't gonna work, and you gotta get crafty and creative, but you have to drop the ego to start, because it's gonna be a bit shitty at first. You're gonna struggle to figure it out. But what I discovered in my life is that everything needs marketing, and now marketing means making content. That's essentially it. Posting, writing, creating, everyone's gotta start creating. I think of the online world is sort of a gold rush and everybody's moving online. And I like to say, oh, you should sell the shovel. Don't worry about chasing gold. Don't be an influencer. Help an influencer. And you've done that.
Yeah.
And that can pay well to get started until you have a story worth sharing. I don't know, but what do you think about this? Should people just start documenting their journey from the start? Now, is that a viable idea anymore? I worry about that.
I think yes, if it's like now it's like very mission focused. If you're like, okay, I'm gonna give myself 6 months to become a content creator, and people want to follow that, right?
So a timeline.
Yes, versus
just see what happens.
I'm just gonna vlog my lunch. No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Especially now in this with TikTok.
So purpose.
Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're right. That makes sense. I see that. I see journeys. I do like following journeys.
Yeah.
Day 7 of doing X, day 25. Yeah, that's pretty good. But I want to just make it clear that my idea is to help other people who are already doing well, and it can take you some time to become confident to do that. But I started with helping my friends and family. I made websites for whatever the hell I wanted to make it for. I didn't ask permission. And it's so cheap now. You got to try. And that's the thing. When I came up in video, cameras were so expensive. You needed tapes. There was no digital hard drives.
Now you have 8K phones.
It's unbelievable. And you can airdrop that stuff from different, what we used to have to go through to transfer and save footage, sickening. People are very lucky now, but they're in the problem of overwhelm of ideas and options now.
There's shiny object.
They can't start. But hey, what is your alternative? That's the reality. And what are your kids gonna think? That's what I think about too. It's like, oh, I'm doing this for my children, not for me anymore. That can help you break the ego.
I have no idea. I work in 9 to 5,
Yep.
50K.
Yep.
I hate Vancouver.
It starts with hate. It starts with the burning hate that this is not right for me. It starts with that. So if you have that, great. You have a fire lit. I've had my fire lit for 10 years now. It doesn't burn out. Once you really light it, you're like, I want my FU money. I want to take over. I want to be the best I can be. So what you should do is realize that everything in the world about money starts with skills. Skills around how to use money, skills around marketing a product, skills around sales, okay? These are the most important things by far. And I would start reading $5, $10 little books about that stuff until I understood, okay, I can take this little pathway. I would follow just a few people online that are doing exactly the life you want and listen to them 100%. What I see people doing is two major problems. One, they look at other influencers, but then they do what other people say and they mix it up. And that doesn't necessarily work because people got there differently. Listen to someone who's doing what you want. The other thing is people have the dreams, but they forget how hard we've worked and how many videos we've made and how many edits we did. It is an effort. And so you have to think about, okay, if I want to make 5K a month remotely on the internet, what do I have to do? Maybe I have to call 50 people. Maybe I have to make 5 websites a month. Maybe I have to make 20 posts a month. There's an input to that output. If you can crack that secret for you because you have different skills, you're on to it. Whatever that is, I can do this, I get money. Scale that up. Just repeat that. Charge more over time. It's a simple pathway of starting from the bottom. I start from zero, all debt. And I just keep coming up, More skills, which creates more confidence, which pulls more people to be like, I'll give you more money.
But to be a devil's advocate, what if I don't want it? Because that is a entrepreneurial thing.
Right.
And not everyone has the kahunas
or
mindset to be like, oh, I want to work. I don't want to work, be my own, it's too scary. I want that steady, quote unquote, paycheck.
Sure. And I think that the only equation you should look at is what is the risk that my job still exists in 10 years? And if you're someone who's like very smart, very educated, very skilled in your job, you'll probably get it raised. You'll probably move up. If that's you, probably stick to that. I'm not going to tell you to change that, but a lot of people, they don't realize their job's not going to exist in 10 years for whatever reason. Layoff because of the culture world changed, or AI. Automation, robots. There's more than enough work for everybody, and you only need a couple clients paying you every month. I have 4 clients every month, paying between $5,000 and $10,000 every single month, depending on some of the workloads. That can last so long in so many countries. And once you have that remote income, you're just like, this doesn't make sense. I don't need to be here anymore. I should go where rent is cheaper and food is cheaper.
So you want to stretch your dollar?
Of course, because I don't want to work that hard. I said I was lazy in the beginning, and you know what I found out? People who don't think they're lazy think they're working hard enough. People who do think they're lazy realize, oh my God, I'm not working hard enough, I've got to go. So sometimes when you don't realize you're lazy or you think you're not, you actually work just average. I started working way harder because I realized laziness is my enemy and I have to take action every single day. So did you know this about me? Every day I'm at Starbucks at 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. I'm one of the only people there every single day. They'll tell you for sure. So I get 2 priority work hours every single day. I get more done than what most people would do in 8 hours at the corporate job because it's focused. I want to be there. I know what my goals are. So like I said, you have to want it. You have to have a burning fire every morning. I'm like, I got to go. I can't wait to go work on my life.
So
it's awesome.
Now that you have your remote life, remote income, like how much hours do you actually work a day now? Now that you have 2 kids?
So like I said, I do 2 in the morning, then I go home and help my wife. If she wants to go take them to a program, I'll send them off and I'll get a couple more hours. Now it's up to me how I use those, but I'll often do Zoom calls, I do training calls, make content. So it will still fluctuate between 2 and 8 hours a day. I never work more than 8 now with kids. And with kids, you're trying to like sneak in a half an hour here and there. So like I said, 2 in the morning, pure deep work, important work. Afternoon, take a call. Afternoon, squeeze something in. Never missing a minute. Like I don't watch TV, I don't watch movies, I don't listen to popular music, I only listen to podcasts, I only listen to training content. This just is the way you have to be. Like you said, there is a risk to being an entrepreneur, so we have to live differently to stay with our craft.
Do you have a resource for people to...
For sure. I mean,
if they hear this, I'm like, Rich, you're talking
most people binge
me.
my channel after they learn about this because I'm one of the foremost leaders in teaching people how do you help other people with digital marketing? Not just how do you grow your business, but what's the act of helping someone else? And so watch my channel, 100+ videos. You can read my new book called One Person Marketing Agency. I wrote my story of how I got my first 5 clients. And then at the back of the book, it tells you the steps. That's where I would start. I don't want to sell anything major. I mean, we have a private community, but I don't think your audience is ready for that. I think the fire comes first. Who am I going to be in this life? Where do I want to go? What skills make sense for me? If you want to learn marketing, look into me. You'll figure it out. We don't need to plug. We're here to just light the fire. That's the most important thing.
Because I feel like now in this age, is like there's so many ways to make money.
Oh, it's
because maybe in Vietnam, there's people who just made it off crypto.
Yep, for sure. Because what they need is so much less, and that even leads them to having a little extra money that they can maybe invest or take a little bit of a calculated risk with. That's the thing. If all your money goes to rent and food, you can't invest in the future. You can't save your money. What was the final tipping point where you immediately said, I will go, I will not hold back anymore?
To Vietnam?
Yeah.
Because people think like, oh my God, I'm gonna go to Vietnam as like a vacation. It just happened out of the blue. I met him 10 years ago. I remember one of the things I told you, I want to go to Vietnam. This is like 24-year-old me.
You had the vision. Yeah.
Working in like a 5,000 person company, very corporate, very a lot of like old money, like old people who've been there for like years, kind of control. It's like chess. You get that with like being an entrepreneur, and you kind of like, but like this is like settled in corporate BS that it was so disgusting. And because we talk about like the rent of Vancouver, people suck up a lot.
Oh yeah.
Just to keep their job.
For sure.
And the minute that they're willing to fire someone to get a pay raise, they will do it. And I was like, not happy. Let's just do something I want to do.
Did you need like a financial bank account number to make the move, or did you have enough cash flow that you felt confident in it?
I feel like I've been smart with my money, where I'm like 5 figures, I can burn, and I'll be okay.
Perfect. And when you go to Vietnam, I'm curious, like, do you seek relationships there at all? Like women, like, are you open to that, or are you there to be like a creator? Are you on a mission, or are you open to like just falling in love and starting a life there? Like, how does Peter think about that?
The joke is like, I'm going there to find a wife. That's how every time I talk to like a Grab, it's like the Uber driver.
Yeah, they must love that one.
And then they're like, why are you here, bro? Canada is like the dream. And then the only way to get them to be like, oh, okay, it's like, I'm here to find a wife.
That's a good one.
And then they just get quiet.
Yeah, they must be so shocked. They don't see it. They don't know Canada. They don't
grass
know
is always greener.
Of course, they've heard decades of, oh, Canada is a wonderful country. And in many respects it is, but there's an imbalance right now that's just driving us all insane. Okay, one more rapid fire before the rain really starts coming down. Is it Vietnam the end point, or is it just the beginning for other countries? I know you're from there, so like, do you feel like the allegiance there now that you found it?
I think for now it's the home base, but I'm definitely not afraid to venture off to places like Thailand, Indonesia, Japan, because that is like the hub. It's so easy, so cheap.
Yeah, that's one of the best things about this is immense fulfillment from seeing different cultures and saying, I have seen the world. And that's a powerful thing. And then you have more empathy for different people and you can understand different problems. But you also then say like, do I deserve the best place I can find? And so like people on my video are like, oh, you're gonna go to another place and you're gonna cause a challenge for there. And I say, you know what? I'm gonna bring a lot of money there and I'm gonna tip people well there because things are actually appropriately priced. We can be more generous with our money. We can support economies. So yeah, I think like the international vibe isn't for everyone. They haven't explored it enough to feel that sense.
Because you're in that rat race. And
right.
The past 8 months, I talk about this, the past 8 months, I feel like I've grown because I lived abroad.
Right.
I've been here my whole life, but living away from mom and dad, paying your own stuff, living by yourself, completely different system. It forces you to grow.
You gotta keep your eyes open. You gotta be living actively. You can't be droning every day doing that exact same thing. Yeah. Too many people are in the exact same pattern that includes Netflix, that includes pornography, that includes alcohol. They are in a complete pattern that every single week is the same thing, and I desperately do not want that.
Some people like that, but for me, I'm like, no.
I think eventually you wake up pretty sad.
Yeah.
You gotta live.
Yeah, bro.
You gotta live.
All right, cheers, bro.